Scott with SJ, Wellfire.com, Final Days Report, episode 448. We're calling this VCAST the Mark of the Beast system in the news. Going to show a plethora of stories on how they're pushing for you to become the cell phone, this brain-computer interface, optogenetics, which is mind controlism. The predictive programming is over the top. Plus, we're going to go into other end-of-days news stories. And again, Final Days Report, episode 448. But the first video I want to show, this is from Pastor Vincent Rhodes. His YouTube channel is called Coffee with Jesus. And he is going to talk about a Netflix new series where a climber is injured and has this nefarious X on their right hand. And it's gold in nature. And if you're listening to a podcast service, this X looks like it's imprinted in the skin. And again, if you follow our news ministry at sjwellfire.com, we've done a 4-part series is Elon Musk, the false prophet. The false prophet will bring on the mark of the beast. The false prophet will bring fire down from heaven. Think of the rockets landing. The false prophet will have power. In my humble opinion, will be able to create the image that will be worshipped of the Antichrist, of the beast. This is nothing short of predictive programming. Let's let Vincent give his findings. And if you're listening to a podcast service, they did a very, very nice job of just showing Elon Musk, Baphomet boy, all of his companies. And again, this ties to Trump. It ties to this beast system. Remember, Trump increased the tariff rates on all these countries, and he's negotiating to bring in Starlink, to bring in ChatGPT, probably Grok AI as well, for this global AI government, this global Tower of Babel. This is wild, my friends. Witches have to tell you what they're going to do to them so the karma doesn't fall back on their heads.
Well, guys, I wanted to just get on and say a few words about this. Last night, there was a new Netflix series on that came on. It was called Untamed. And I decided to sit down and watch it with my wife, of course. And it's about a mountain climbing mystery, right? And a woman falls from the mountain, and surprisingly, she is the center of attention in this movie that Netflix is creating. But I think sometimes when I see these things, I wonder if they just make these movies and they do a soft reveal, like, of something that is coming. And one of the things that was intriguing about the movie is that it was a mystery that this woman had died on the side of a mountain by falling. But strangely enough, she had a mark on her arm. And this mark that was on her arm was a golden X tattoo, right? And not only was it
it looks engraved, like it's below her skin, like seared into her skin. I don't know if you see that. I thought that was intriguing.
Tattoo, but it was made out of gold, and we know that gold is conductive of electricity and can be used for many different applications. So this led me, as a researcher and a person who looks into these kinds of things in terms of biblical, to go down and kind of examine this to find out if this is a introduction to us as people. How they like to hide stuff in movies, and is this a way that they are actually revealing something to us that is coming? Revelation chapter 13 verse 16 through 17 says that we're going to receive a mark in our arm or our forehead, and we've heard them talk about these quantum dot IDs, digital IDs that are going to be put on each one of us. And the fact that it was actually a tattoo that was in the shape of an X led me down the rabbit hole to think about Elon Musk and how Elon Musk now is still pushing this agenda to have these Neuralinks put in people's heads, and then also the connection between the Neuralink and being able to identify a person with some sort of ID on their arm, and we know that Elon Musk has been kind of like an antichrist type of person that we've been looking at and seeing him as a antichrist-like figure. And so as we go down this rabbit trail, you got to wonder, are they using Netflix to kind of show us what the future will be, how they plan to implement all of this. And, they have to show you what they're going to do first. Before they do it, they have to show you how they're going to do it, what they're going to do, and all of that. And so, again, as we look at these things that are happening around us, Elon Musk, even with his X platform that he now owns from Twitter, and then also the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft and all of the things that point to the beast and the dragon of the book of Revelation, you got to wonder whether or not they are actually showing us something that is to come to pass. And so I just wanted to get on and say something about this. It is a Netflix series that is on television currently right now.
My question is, as we dive deep into multiple stories about how they're priming us for the full implementation of the mark of the beast, my question is, how does this interact with the nanotech in us, especially the nanotech from the As the Days of Noah devil juice, this operating system, this neural lace that goes across the blood-brain barrier? Next story I want to cover from Natural News, Sam Altman pitches World ID to bankers as AI threatens traditional identity systems. We did a podcast a long, long time ago. How they need this new authentication system because of AI hacking. I'll see if I can find the old thumbnail. So we continuously hear the excuse of why they need to authenticate us with stronger technology. But let's read from naturalnews.com. At a U.S. Federal Reserve conference, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman promoted his iris-scanning digital ID system, World ID, as essential to combating AI-driven fraud in banking and finance. Altman warned that AI has already rendered voice, face, and other biometric authentication methods ineffective, urging immediate adoption of new identity technologies. Developed by Altman's company Tools for Humanity, World ID verifies users via iris scans and stores their identity data using the blockchain, aiming to distinguish real humans from AI bots online. The project has faced international regulatory pushback over surveillance risks, data retention, lack of transparency, and potential erosion of individual autonomy. You think? This was recently published. You can't make this stuff up, my friends, because they need you to become the cell phone. And I go back to that X tattoo. The technology, what it will give, and I think it will interact with the nanotech in you, is it'll give you life hacks. It'll give you skills, the 9 skills that we've identified for biodigital convergence, mostly centered on health, right? The blind can see, disease cured, but also skills. You'll be able to download Google in a second, have the ability to speak multiple languages, the ability to make money. But you need to think about this. The operating system in people needs some sort of hardware. I think this could be the hardware that then launches it all. And remember, 6G, 5G communicates at the cell level, at the nanotech level. But this was recently posted. Bill Gates declares the end of the smartphone era and unveils its surprising replacement. Gates points to electronic tattoos developed by Chaotic Moon, what a name, and later acquired by Accenture, a big player, as the next big leap in personal technology. Instead of holding a phone in our hands, these tattoos could allow us to communicate, access the internet, and even monitor our health. Think about RFK Jr. and his wearables. See, you can't look at any of these stories in a silo. They all blend together like a web for your soul. All of this is without a screen in sight. The key advantage? These tattoos are integrated into the body. Imagine having a device embedded in your skin that lets you interact with the world through simple gestures or touch. It's sleek, unobtrusive, and possibly more intuitive than anything we've seen so far. The tattoos are powered by tiny nano capacitors. Let me read that again. The tattoos are powered by tiny nanocapacitors, and they don't require bulky batteries or displays, making them a far more subtle alternative to today's mobile devices. I heard one podcaster say they might just cut off the technology of a cell phone and say, in order for you to survive, you have to have the cell phone in you. Remember when they took us off the old television technology and moved us towards the digital TVs. They just said it's no longer supported. This is nothing short of biodigital convergence, this nanotech in you, this operating system of life, of really should be called operating system of death. And they're going to tie this to ID 2020, that classic graphic that we've shown where you can't bank, you can't travel, you can't do anything without your papers, please. Nothing short of Internet of Bodies, Internet of Things. Think about Microsoft's 666 patent. Do a said task, get paid. Now, here's the thing as well, and we'll cover World War III. I think they need war or some sort of digital pandemic to accelerate this technology. Maybe just shut the grid off, said Russia, 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 or Iran hacked the grid. They need the world in chaos to implement this sort of technology. Because the cell phone, your jail phone, many people like to call it, is a satanic play, ultimately trying to biohack you. This is an ad from 2005, Nokia N90 ad. Shows this Asian woman holding up a flip phone, it looks like, with the devil horns. Can't make any of this up. This is from the Post from Navigating the Lies. This ad shows that Satan's technological agenda has been in the works for many years now and is culminating in our current times, connecting humans via phones and the World Wide Web. That will trap you was phase one. Where this is moving towards, that we've been calling out for 4 years, the Internet of Things, Internet of Bodies, brain-computer interface devices, and yes, 6G, 5G that communicates at the cell levels, phase 2, 3, that will ultimately be the Internet of Bodies. This is called transhumanism that cannot be instantaneously rolled out, right? They need to slow boil you like a frog, but it can be slowly introduced. Over the last 20 years, we have become increasingly accustomed to carrying around personal electronic devices for communication. However, they keep telling us the phone is becoming obsolete. Why? We did a story from 2009 that the cell phone actually has mind controlism capabilities. It alters your brain waves. And that was before AI. That was before nanotech. Let's continue reading. The goal is to no longer have humans carry cell prison phones on them, but rather cell phones inside of them. For the brain-computer interface to take place, you need to get rid of the outdated phones. Many will take the bait under the assumption of ease and convenience and skills, upgradable skills, as I just mentioned. Unaware that once the tech is integrated into their body, there's no unplugging from that satanic control grid. It is a plan. And we just did a podcast about these chatbot companions. I think what they're doing is they're getting you ready to worship the image of the beast. I'll put the thumbnail up. It is alarming how many young people have their little AI friend. And this is a post from Trumpet News 1. Elon Musk is introducing a new AI companion named Valentine as part of the Grok chatbot on X. Unlike typical chatbots, Valentine is designed with a distinct personality and charm, aiming for deeper, more engaging interactions. The last two that we showed was like a girlfriend and this little animal character that could turn mean. Just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. And again, I'm blown away how many young people are into this stuff. The interesting part is the post he just made on X introducing this new AI is a recreation of Lucifer on Netflix. There's Netflix again. Isn't it obvious by now that Elon Musk serves Satan? ? You would think putting chips in people's brains or the Baphomet Devil's champion costume that was his pick on X, his profile pic, would have given it away, but it seems people need it spelled out for them multiple times. And again, I don't even think they need a chip in your head. I think, as per Elon's own words, they have non-invasive surgery, neural lace, think nanotech. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning a demon, Elon Musk has said. With the right mRNA technology, we can turn you into a butterfly. They're playing God, my friends. So this AI figure, this companion, totally is Lucifer. They're getting you ready to worship the Antichrist image that can speak. All right, let's get into war. And again, I think they need war. They need chaos to bring this system in. All right, let's talk World War III. Because again, I think they need either a digital pandemic, another pandemic. They need World War III to bring on this beast system. And never forget, Russia poked their citizens as well with the As the Days of Noah devil juice. And we've covered over the years Russia's big brother deep state utilizing AI. Putin said, whomever has the best AI will rule the world. So part of me wonders, does Lucifer control all the governments of the world and lets them do certain infighting? Or are they just behind closed doors with their little handshake? Okay, you shoot your nukes here. I mean, death will be real to us, but the world is a stage, my friends. The theater of war. I'm not buying it. So I used to say, and I can't remember the exact splits, but 60% I think they're poking the bear. The West is 40% we're watching theater. What do you say in the comments? Because Dmitry here, who's a thorn in Trump's side from Russia, has a shocking claim. Trump's secrets beyond Mossad. In a provocative statement, Dmitry warns Donald Trump that his past immoralities are not solely in the possession of the Mossad. These Satanists honey trap each other all over the place. And I did a deep dive study of a sign I'm looking for. Final Days Report, episode 257 of the World War III players. We dive deep into Daniel, the whore, and the woman in this AIB system. And what is Jerusalem's war? Basically, I go on to say, I think the woman of the book of Revelation is Jerusalem that rides the beast. But check that out. We go deep into Daniel, the book of Daniel, on the consolidation that will be the 10 kings. But you need to think about this script. Think about the Deagle report playbook of 78 to 80% of Western nations' populations being destroyed. That's a plan, my friends. How does this fit Trump's bold move to put tariffs on countries like India, because India are buying and selling Russian oil? Ukraine is getting bolder and bolder, striking Russian oil refineries. Poking the bear, my friends. What do you say in the comments? Are we watching big time wrestling with Russia? I mean, many, many people, including myself, have had dreams. Russia, China, and even Cuba. Those are the three countries I've seen. And maybe Mexico or Muslims attacking the United States. So I think judgment will be real. Death will be real. The United States will be taken out. But I think there'll be a remnant that will be saved. One of my dreams, I saw Chinese soldiers going across what I would thought in my dream might be Nebraska or Kansas. And God actually sent down meteors to wipe them out. So I think there'll be a remnant that will be saved here in the United States. And the only way this country is going to get saved, obviously, if we turn back from our sin. But judgment and prophecy cannot be stopped. All right, supposedly the next story I'm going to cover has been rescinded, but there's a bigger point to be made here. U.S. links $1.9 billion in state disaster funds to Israel boycott stance. U.S. states and cities that boycott Israeli companies will be denied federal aid for natural disaster preparedness, the Trump administration has announced, tying routine federal funding to its political stance. The American Jewish Committee supports the Trump administration policy. Supposedly they walked this back, but there's a bigger point to be made here. You need to think about Noahide laws. As destruction comes, they're going to implement Noahide laws where you will worship one God. And if you worship Jesus Christ, it's off with your head. And again, this is Mark of the Beast priming as they make the Bible illegal because it's anti-Semitic and hate speech against certain lifestyles. This should alarm people that our government is putting carrots out there that if you protest the genocide in Gaza, you're not going to get these funds. I mean, it's ludicrous. But how far are they going to go with this? They're going to make the Bible illegal. Make sure you get a hard copy, my friends. It's in the Old Testament. There's going to be a famine of the Word of God. Part of me thinks it's going to be a famine of the Word of God because you won't be able to find it online. Get your hard copy, my friends. I prefer the King James Version Bible myself. I want to switch gears to what the good book says of the end of days, of lack of natural affection. And many people think, I do as well, natural affection, meaning this is, sodomy type of behavior. But I think natural affection as well is just the love of a child, the love of children, the love of your fellow man. Just 3 stories that just show this lawlessness of Matthew 24, men's hearts waxing cold. Woman arrested after 2-year-old girl found alive in suitcase stowed in bus luggage. So was she trafficking this child? Did she not want to pay for a ticket? This next one got me as well. Parents allegedly ditched their 10-year-old at airport, jetting off to vacation without him. Completely surreal. This kid didn't have the right paperwork, so they just left him. We're going to go on our vacation. How evil. I couldn't imagine leaving my 10-year-old son at an airport. I'd call off the entire vacation. This is insanity. And this one got me. Gang of boys who stabbed an 18-year-old to death with a Rambo knife like zombies attacking an animal are pictured for the first time. The article was just gruesome. They were described as basically foaming at the mouth, just acting like lions on prey. And you need to think about this next story on how cold it's getting. From LifeSite News, pediatricians call for elimination of non-medical exemptions for childhood vaccines. They really want to defile and harm your kids. And I saw a documentary without pokes, pediatricians, they wouldn't be profitable. Pediatricians make the majority of their money, or a slew of their money, via incentives to poke your kid. The American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, has issued a new policy statement calling for the complete elimination of non-medical vaccine exemptions for childcare and school attendance. That means no religious exemptions, no philosophical exemptions, only medical exemptions granted under tightly controlled conditions. I follow a Telegram channel, and she has posted the explosion of mental health hospitals, and some of them are geared towards kids. What do they know with this mind controlism technology? It's getting absolutely wicked. It's wicked. So let's summarize. Going back to the mark of the beast technology, it's almost like the cell phone will be the hardware for the operating system and all the nanotech, all the neural lace that has broken past the blood-brain barrier. And I do think the mark of the beast, there's going to be a worshiping of an image portion of it. So how does that fit these chatbot companions? How are they preparing people to have a friend with a chatbot AI entity? We're being boiled like frogs, my friends. But God bless. Have no fear. Good book's coming true. I don't know. This got to me, especially the story of how the parents just left their 10-year-old son, a 2-year-old in luggage, and just the nonsensical murder of an 18-year-old boy. Now, the good news is all the people that participated in that are serving life prison sentences. Wild time to be alive, my friends. Thanks for your support. God bless.